Punishing is one of the core components of fighting games. You know, it's something everyone needs to know how to do, but sometimes punishing is not as simple as just block a move and press a button. I'm a big fan of when fighting game players get creative and find punishes for like obscure situations and rarely seen interactions. I recently saw two really cool examples of obscure punishes on my Twitter feed. So I'm going to explain those and credit the people who found them. And then I'm going to add 3 more of my own that you might all find useful to know. But first, me and you, viewer of this video, we're going to make a deal. How about if you didn't know about at least 3 of these obscure punishes, you have to hit that subscribe button, okay? All right, deal. Let's get into it. All right, number 1, my first obscure punish is going to be the trick to beating Bison's Devil's Reverse, specifically with a bomb attached to you. Let me explain what the hell that means. Okay, let's get into it. So, we all know about Devil's Reverse, right? We all probably hate this move. I know it's caused a lot of people a lot of problems. This thing. And there are lots of ways of punishing this move. You know, it's meant to be like anti-edge, even though it's kind of awkward to do so sometimes, because he can change the angle a lot. But one thing that you should not do against this move is punish it with Drive Impact, because if you try to do that, this will happen. Not a good idea. However, there is a cool bit of tech floating about, courtesy of an Aki player called Rip. I will include his Twitter handle in the video description so you can go follow. And it takes advantage of a unique property about Bison's Devil's Reverse when you have the bomb attached to you. Let me explain. So with the bomb attached, you'll notice that when Bison makes contact, he goes into this special follow-up where he hits a second time, and it gives him like mad plus frames. This is like plus 16 on block. And this is really good for his pressure and really good for his combo game. Like on hit, this does like 1 billion damage. But we can actually take advantage of that special effect with the bomb attached, and that actually allows you to punish this move with a DI where you can't normally. So let me show you what that looks like. There. So because Bison is forced into the follow-up with a bomb on him, that makes this move go from safe to DI to actually punishable by DI. And what's extra interesting is that the DI will hit insanely high up like that. And you can do some really cool combos with this situation. Like, I don't know Ryu's optimal stuff for this exchange, but you can probably do something like this, which is pretty cute. I'm sure, like, you know, lab monsters out there, go find cool stuff for your own characters, but you get a really juggle-friendly starter out of it. Everyone can take advantage of this as far as I know. Yeah, be creative. You can do some cool stuff with this. So this DI punish, like I said, only works if there is a bomb attached to you. Do not try this if you are not glowing blue. Anyway, so that's a cool punish, I think. Number 2 is a special punish against Blanka, which was brought to my attention by Chico. Chico is a really good player from Egypt, who I think I've mentioned on previous videos. I will also provide a link to Chico's Twitter account in the description. Let me show you this tech, because this is really cool. Alright, so for this, I'm going to show you a Blanka setup, which you've probably seen before. This is like a common Blanka mix-up, and explain it a little bit. And then I'm going to show you a really cool punish to deal with it. So it looks like this. So this is a very common like corner set play with Blanka. You put down the Blanka-chan, and then you lock them in block stun, and then you go for a command grab. And the reason this is a good mix-up is because a lot of the common options you would do to escape a command grab just straight up don't work here. So for example, like if I try and backdash to get out of this command grab, I just get hit by the Blanka-chan, and he can actually get a full combo off that. And likewise, if I neutral jump to get out of this setup, the same thing happens. Like your instinct is usually to avoid a command grab by like jumping or backdashing, and neither of them work in this situation. What you can do here, which is kind of cool, is if you forward jump here, you do escape the corner. But it's a little bit awkward because you escape the corner and you can try and go for a punish, but the Blanka-chan is still active. So sometimes that will happen. You escape the corner, you go for a punish, and the Blanka-chan will just chase you from behind and screw up your punish attempt. So there you go. So what you can do here that's really cool is if you do a high hit stun heavy normal, like Ryu's back heavy punch, into DI, because the DI hits the Blanka-chan, that changes it from a normal DI into the big cinematic DI. So normally you can't combo into cinematic DI. Usually that's not a combo. Normally like heavy into DI will just do that. But because this DI causes you to armor through the Blanka-chan, it switches it to the cinematic DI, and you actually get like a full combo out of this. So you can do stuff like that, which is really cool. And it does a ton of drive gauge damage as well, because what's neat is that you get the drive gauge damage from the heavy punch, and then you also get the drive gauge damage from the DI. So just this 2-hit combo alone does like 3 bars of drive gauge damage, which is pretty crazy. So I think most characters in the game can probably exploit this, unless you don't have like a heavy normal that's special cancelable and does like a lot of hit stun. I labbed an Aki version the other day. Aki's kind of privileged. She doesn't need to delay it at all. But yeah, you can do this with Aki, which is great damage, very low drive investment, big drive gauge damage to the opponent. Very useful to know. Okay. So those are the 2 that I shamelessly stole from Twitter videos for this video, but now I'm going to provide you with 3 more. And speaking of Aki, I'm actually going to teach you a lesser known punish on Aki's level 2 super. I'll just catch you guys up to speed about this thing. Her level 2 can go full screen, and when she does it, it's only minus 19 on block. And there's very few characters that can actually punish a minus 19 from full screen. You know, that's a lot of ground to cover in 19 frames. So against most of the cast, this is safe at full screen. And often, like, Aki players will try and use it as a fireball punish. So sometimes they'll do full screen level 2, assuming that you're going to throw a fireball as a read, and then you just don't. And so some characters do have, like, punishes on this, like, character-specific ones. Like, I think Ryu can, like, helicopter out of this. Yeah, so some characters can just get out of this with like air options, but today I'm going to teach you guys a completely universal one, which I think works for every character in the game. So what you can actually do is you can block this super, and then just before the final hit, you can do a drive reversal, which will whiff, obviously, because you're full screen. But because it whiffs, it causes the last hit of the level 2 to miss, and then you get enough time to get in and punish. So like, the timing is definitely finicky on this, but it is worth knowing. Let me just see if I can just brainlessly full screen level 1 here. Oh yeah, that works too. So if you've got like a long range fast projectile super, you can also just do that rather than try and time the drive rush. Definitely worth labbing, and all your friends will consider you very cool if you manage to land it in a real match. So let's move on. We're going to DJ next. Alright, so this is going to be something that I have briefly covered in the past, but I'm actually going to expand on it here because there's more to this super than I thought. So, if you don't know, Capcom changed DJ's level 1 in the most recent balance patch, and they made it minus 12 with a shitload of pushback. So this move is now very safe on block. You can't even do like a drive rush light here. DJ players will now sometimes fish for this in neutral, about this range. And I've said this in the past, but one way of dealing with this thing is you can actually just intercept it out of startup with like a jab. A lot of people don't do this. You can just punch him in the face. You can just do that. So that's like the basic punish that I've told people about. Just press your longest range 4-frame and you'll punish him. But I got some feedback last time I mentioned that, because they said I've been trying to jab it, but it's not been working. And I realized the issue is the difference between this range and this range. So from slightly further out at like this distance, this strategy doesn't work. And if you try and jab it on startup, your jab will whiff and you'll get crumpled and you might die. So you gotta be very careful here. Now the good news is, if you are at the range where jab whiffs, you can't do that punish anymore, but you can switch to a different punish. So if you're too far for jab, a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually backdash after the flash and avoid the level 1. So this actually works. If you backdash here, it will whiff, and then you're plus 19, which is plenty enough to get a drive rush afterwards. That is a punish. So I would recommend labbing this because there's like 2 ranges you need to know here. Like at this range, jab will work, and at this range, you need to backdash. But at both distances, you get a guaranteed meterless punish on DJ's level 1. You just have to react very quickly when you see the startup. And I guess before someone says, what if my character is big and slow and has a bad backdash? The good news is, for example, if you're Zangief, Zangief does not have a good backdash, so I cannot backdash out of this. I'll just get kicked in the face. But on the plus side, Zangief has probably the single longest 5-frame move in the entire game, which is his SPD. So you just do this. This is like the most brain-dead punish of all time. You just wait until the flash, and then you input EX SPD. So if your character has a 5-frame command grab, you don't even need to worry about like this whole like backdash versus jab system. Literally just scoop. It's guaranteed. That covers most characters, I think. And obviously as well, like if your character has an invincible reversal, you can also just do that as well. Bypass this whole like mind game, just do that. So yeah, most characters can very easily shut down this super. You've just got to react to it before it hits, rather than blocking it and trying to punish afterwards, because if you block it or parry it, it's safe. Alright, number 5. We're actually going to go back to where we started with M. Bison. So, this is not actually Bison exclusive. I'm going to cover a few characters here, but the last one I have for you guys is jumping supers rather than blocking them. This is like a recent bit of tech for a few different characters. But it's worth knowing because it does affect about half the roster this. So if you consider a situation like this, I've got a knockdown against Bison in the corner and he did wake up level 1 and I didn't press a button. What's the best thing to do in this situation, right? The basic answer, the layer 1 answer is block and punish. The layer 2 answer, the better answer is parry first. And then punish, because parry will recharge your drive gauge. The even better answer, if your character has a way to like upgrade their toolset, like Denjin for example, is actually to jump backwards. Because here's a little bit of information you might not know about Bison's level 1. Bison's level 1 is minus 41 on block. However, if you jump backwards, it's minus 67. You get an extra 20 plus frames of advantage if you just avoid it completely. And this is a big difference for characters who have some kind of install that they can use. So for example with Ryu, I can jump back, charge Denjin, and still get a punish counter, which will massively upgrade my combo. So you get 6,600 damage. You do lose the corner. It depends a little bit on your character and their toolset. But some characters would rather forfeit the corner if it gives them enough time to like set up some kind of condition. So this is not just Ryu. A bunch of characters can take advantage of this. E Honda can get his hands up, like his hands upgrade charged. Like Kimberly can do a spray can before the combo starts. Aki can put down the puddle. Any character which can like set up some kind of like max damage condition can take advantage of this. So I don't know Kimberly combos, but that's just a rough idea. And yeah, so that's useful, but I should also add, this is not just Bison. There are a few supers in this game which are significantly more unsafe if you neutral jump or forward jump rather than just blocking them. So another example is Lily's level 1. So Lily's level 1 is minus 36 on block. But if you neutral jump instead, it's minus 53. And like I said, that difference, for most characters, that doesn't make a difference. But for about the half of the cast that can set some kind of damage boosting condition, that upgrade of like 20 or so frames makes a huge difference. Because for Aki, it means you can do this. Nearly 7,000 damage coast to coast, and that wasn't even critical art. One last example of this, another character with this property is Akuma. So again, just to demonstrate, Akuma's level 1 on block is minus 41, but on neutral jump, minus 58. The nice thing about Akuma's as well, it's the only one of the three that doesn't lose you corner control. So with Akuma, you keep the corner, and even after placing a puddle with Aki, I'm plus 14, and I can do stupid shit like this. Again, nearly 7k on a 9,000 health character. Showa JP version? I think JP can probably do the portal, right? I just wish I could remember max damage JP stuff. I'm sure there's more you can get than this. JP's combo structure has changed a lot since I last played him. But even still, with this suboptimal stuff, 7,180 damage. Are you jumping during the super flash? No, you can jump. All of these that I've shown so far, I'm jumping after the super flash. I'm just holding neutral, and I'm jumping now. So the point that I'm making here is do not default to assuming that blocking is the best response to a wake up super. Some of them are significantly more punishable if you jump after the flash than if you block them afterwards. Anyway, I hope this was useful. I hope you saw some things today that you have not seen before. I like an obscure punish. If you guys know any obscure punishes of your own, things that you've labbed, then let me know down in the comments section. And I will see you guys all in the next video.